So we are talking about one of the largest problems in the entire world, which is the global water crisis. Currently, 771 million people lack access to clean water, including about 330 million people in sub-Saharan Africa. You guys are working on tackling global water issues. So, George, you invest in water projects. You have a natural water bottle company. And Shomy, you are activating youth in over 25 countries to do things in line with the UN's SDGs, including 3 African countries, our neighbors in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Ghana, Nigeria. So I'd love for you guys to talk a little bit, to kick this off with, what exactly is the role of government versus private individuals versus corporations in helping to solve the global water crisis?
Yeah, the first question is excellent, because the global crisis is only can only be solved with the collaborations with governments. But so to give you a little bit of an introduction about my company. It's called The Water Company, and my name is George Bos, and we initiate new products in the water industry, and we acquire companies with a buy and build strategy. And so we're based in the Netherlands, which is arguably the number one country in terms of the innovation in water. And one of the products we developed is a single-use water bottle that is 100% home compostable within a half a year. So the bottles you see right here, we developed a bottle. I have a prototype with me, which I can show you later on, which is home compostable within a half a year and stockable in the regular PET bottle industry. But this is typically a product what is for the Western world, where the recycling process is underdeveloped. So this is like one idea about the products we developed, and therefore we have a pipeline of innovation, which is as well a product we're working on, which is a mega tube of 25 meters that we want to implement from the sea into the African countries, where for example, South Africa, we want to implement this huge tunnel in the South African country to be installed to the global or to the South African distribution network. So, and to realize this project on a successful way, the only way to do this is to collaborate with the government. So therefore we're having meetings with the president of Botswana as well. I just WhatsApped with the president how we can set up this meeting to really go into a start in this. So definitely government is a need for this crisis. Yes.
What about you, Shomy?
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me today. Hi,
Thank
everyone.
you for being here.
Of course, with pleasure. So my name is Shomy, and I'm the co-founder of a global youth-led nonprofit called Awareness 360, which I co-founded back in 2014 with my co-founder Rijvi Arifin, who is also a Forbes Under 30 lister. And the reason why we wanted to build this organization is to really empower young people with the transferable skills and the resources that they need in order to identify problems in their own communities and come up with sustainable solutions. So the underlining framework that we follow in our work is the UN Sustainable Development Goals, as you mentioned, and UN SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation, has been one of our focus areas. So the kind of work that we do, which ties to your question about the role of people, for example, is we work at the grassroots level as an advocacy organization. So we try to raise awareness through different campaigns and programs. And the kind of communities that we work with are really last mile marginalized, who are most of the times forgotten about. For example, we work with the sex workers, the storage workers, people with disabilities, the refugees. So this kind of communities where still now it's absurd that they don't have access to clean water and sanitation and hygiene. So I know this panel is about water, which definitely is one of the biggest problems in the world today. But oftentimes we see that sanitation and hygiene, which is also very much relevant to water, get overlooked. So that is something where we are trying to focus on.
Yeah, I know 1 million people died last year of sanitation-related issues. I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about your work in the sanitation space.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, COVID, right? During COVID, we have really seen the importance of our work. I think it was highlighted even more. So, for example, hand washing stations, knowing how to wash hands properly. This is something which is a prerequisite to combating COVID. Having access to clean water, having sanitation services and facilities. So the kind of work that we do include identifying communities where they don't have infrastructure services. For example, we build toilets for them, we provide water supply for them, but at the same time, we also focus on the awareness component. For example, we train them how they can realize even like how they can realize the ultimate value of investing in WASH for long-term sustainable development.
And how do you get them to care about investing in WASH for long-term sustainable development?
Yeah, so oftentimes we see WASH as a health issue. Definitely it is a health-related problem, but it is also more than that. We see that, I think Ralph from the other panel was talking about, us working in silos. We see that we only look at water as a water issue, but water issue is also a gender issue. Water issue is also a climate issue. These are all related, so it's important that we bring these conversations and work together, right? So yeah, I mean, when we reach out to these communities, we try to make them realize that if they invest in their WASH, we don't want them to just be donor dependent and be like, okay, some NGO will come and build toilets for us, but then if it's not working, it's fine, we will just go defecate out in the open. But we want them to realize that it is a problem. And if they do invest in water, sanitation and hygiene, if they do take care of their own sanitation and hygiene space, then they have the opportunity to actually come out of poverty in the long run, because they'll be more productive, they'll be able to work properly.
Right, because I imagine, a huge issue is if this is what's the business as usual, then, and no pun intended, but if this is business as usual, then let's just keep doing what we're doing, even if it's harmful. George, how do you get people, in developed nations like the Netherlands, where access to capital is so much greater, to care about the global water crisis when, clean water is not a problem?
So look, because there is, in these regions, there is a lot of chaos. And what I've experienced, when there is a lot of chaos, there is a big need for order. And in this creation from chaos to order lies opportunity. Therefore, we're seeing possibilities. So when everything is going smoothly, there is no need for creativity to really solve things. So with our department that is growing on the buy and build side, we acquire companies where the owner makes the step to retirement, which are pretty healthy firms. They've been cash flowing for the last 10 years, all in the water filtration business. And we've been acquiring these companies and we combine them together. So we consolidate a big group of companies. And in this consolidation of these firms, there is a lot of changes made. And in these changes, we combine we create a kind of chaos. And therefore we see in this chaos, that's where the opportunities are created. So in combination with this innovation line of us, we create this innovation in that time, so that we can look at the global problems to solve those ones. With this innovation department, we create creativity because of the necessity.
So speaking of creativity and chaos, we are, a group of young people who are doing just that. I'd love for you to talk about the role of young people in solving these issues that clearly our parents, our grandparents weren't able to tackle. Shomy, I'd love for you to start, since I know young people are really your area of focus.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the power of young people is immense, and we already see that from the conversations that are brewing in this summit itself. I think the under 30 list itself, it shows how much young people have achieved in tackling these challenges. So I think we bring in the fresh ideas, the fresh perspectives, and the best part about young people is that we have access to technology. We know how to leverage technology, right? And it's not necessary that all young people have to be entrepreneurs, but it's important to create an entrepreneurial mindset among our generation. So I definitely think that young people can play a critical role in addressing such challenges. Just to give you an example, we recently launched a children fellowship program in Awareness 360, where we had like 60 children of 7 to 11 years old, and we actually happened to have 2 kids from Botswana. They're only 7 and 11 years old, and both of them, we gave them training on different like entrepreneurial related leadership, communication building skills, and the way they have amazed us, like in a month they have raised funds to actually provide school supplies to different schools in their communities. So I think this shows, it's a very tiny example to show how young people from a very young age even have the ability to make change if they're given the right skills and the support and resources.
Yes, good point. And when you look at the Chinese wall, if you calculate it, it cannot be built. It's what's said now. But young people, you cannot confuse them with the facts. They just have something in mind and they go for it. So they don't have this baggage from all of these 50 years of experience. So they're bold and they're more easily to go for it.
Well, it's amazing to hear that a 7-year-old, an 11-year-old from Botswana can have such a big impact. On a darker note, so with rapidly accelerating climate disasters and a widening socioeconomic gap, it doesn't look like the water crisis is going to naturally solve itself. Where do you guys see signs for promise, or are you kind of maintaining a pessimistic attitude? And if so, can you elaborate on what a world might look like, 10, 20 years down the line?
Yeah, well, obviously we're having a big crisis. Some people even say that the next world war will be a water war, which is a pretty serious thing. And when we have the possibility to make these changes as young entrepreneurs, we should go for it. But it takes bold entrepreneurship. For example, the pipe we're building, these ones are pretty bold ideas if you think about it, and it's just not not created with all hundreds of years of experience that develops it. It's just one person that is going for this idea. Just to create a pipe with a diameter of 25 meters, plug it into the ground, let it be distributed to the water channel. That's a pretty bold idea if you think about it. But it is possible. If you think about the humanity can bring a ship to the moon, then and even within hundreds of years to Mars, I believe that we can even do it in 30 years. If we create certain drive necessity, we can do these types of things as well. And these are very necessary because the population will grow to 10 billion people in 2050, and innovation can capitalize on this need.
Yeah, to add to that, I think it's important to have a proper accountability framework for all of these investments. We see from governments different investments on long-term water projects, but they never get followed upon, right? And it's just somewhere it just dies. So I think it's important to make sure that we are holding our leaders accountable. And governments, for example, at this stage, if we want to achieve the UN SDG 6, globally, we need 3 times the current investment in the WASH space. So I think it's really important for governments to realize the importance of WASH and how it ties to many other global issues as well.
3 times the investment is a lot. That is not exactly optimistic, unfortunately. I know that we're running out of time here. So I want to ask you guys in closing, what do you think are the most important things to solve the water crisis, to give everyone in the world access to clean water?
Innovation.
And where does that come from? I'm sorry, I have to follow up on that.
Well, innovation is, in my belief, the only thing that can capitalize on this mega crisis. And this comes from, when you're having your back to the wall, when something is really, really, really necessary, you will find a way. And that's how I think, invention is the mother of creativity. So when you think about it, if something has to be done, then you'll find a creative way to get it done.
For me, I think it would be collaboration among different stakeholders, whether it's governments investing more in WASH or investing in corporations, investing in different innovative projects such as George's, or whether it is working on laws about transboundary water. There are different aspects of things, so I definitely think that all stakeholders have to come together to solve this crisis.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.